Welcome back to Foley Football Classics. Foley leads Theodore at the half, 14-7. Coach, thoughts going into the locker room at halftime?
Well, scoring right before the half was huge. Being up 14-7 against a great team, we knew we had to kick off, or we were going to get the ball to start the second half. But we knew that they still could break a play anytime. So we're just one play away from having the score tied. But we felt pretty good because we felt like we matched up with them well. The offensive line was coming off the ball well. Our backs were running hard. The defense was doing what they had to do to stop them. We stopped them many times, and the times that we didn't, we contained them enough to hold them 7 points. And we're playing a great team. So we felt pretty good at the half.
Coach Spiker, your thoughts on the defensive performance, and again keeping Theodore in check except for the one touchdown. A great job by the defense in the first half.
They did well considering who we were having to line up against, and I could see it was going to take another half just like this half to secure the win.
So how was the team in your mind, Coach Smith, holding up? Again, a physical advantage goes to the Bobcats in this game for sure. But what were your thoughts about the condition of the team, knowing you had 2 more quarters to go?
Well, I think the team was well conditioned the entire season. They'd worked really hard in the off season during the summer. Kids came up. A lot of times they would run a mile or 2 miles just to get up here to work out during the summer. We knew they were well conditioned, and so I didn't worry about that so much. It was just the thought of them making a big play, maybe to get back in the game. I think that was the main thing. But conditioning-wise, we felt that we were as well conditioned or better conditioned than anybody we played, including Theodore. Even though there were a few of our kids going both ways some, I think the kids thought they could win. My kids thought they were better conditioned than everybody else, and I felt the same way about it.
Great memories of a classic football game here in Foley, Alabama. Foley winning 17-14 over Theodore. We're going to watch the final half of that when we return right after this. Third quarter action. Foley will see the ball first. There's Tony Gill once again, Coach.
Yeah, having scored right before the half and then getting the ball to start the second half, if we could have taken it down and punched it in, we might could have put the nail in the coffin right there, but Theodore was very tough and we weren't able to do that. That was what we call 11 counter, a little misdirection with our quarterback, Lewis Dean.
So Foley on a 4th and 4 will line up in front formation.
We tried to shift down, did shift down a little bit, trying to draw them off sides, but we had a motion penalty on that one ourselves. We're trying to pick up a cheap first down by getting them to jump off sides.
Mike Bernard's punt and a fair catch called by the Bobcats. There's a handoff to Bolton. Scott Bolton again, who went on to play at Auburn.
They run it outside veer, and he's got the dive play a couple of times. We stopped that most of the game, though.
Johnny Goodman knocked him out of bounds.
You're running outside veer to this side, and he got the dive, and so they changed up things a little bit, and they got to move it early on in the ball game in the third quarter. It's really hard to put into words sometimes what a great team that we beat. So our team then was a great team. We knew that after playing them that we had an outstanding team. We knew that all year, but beating a great team like Theodore, coached by a great coach, was quite an accomplishment by our team.
So Theodore ties it up on their opening possession, I believe it was, of the third quarter. And so a momentum shift you're kind of sensing here, Coach, but Foley comes right back with the football. Lewis Dean at quarterback.
Picked up 5 yards on first down. Dean was just really tough. Pitch out to Johnny Goodwin. Outstanding run. 30, 35-yard run.
Johnny Goodwin, as you mentioned, not just a talented football player, but a really, really great competitor.
At the time that Johnny finished playing, I think he was the third leading rusher in the history of Foley football. Might have been second. I'm not sure, but he was a truly great player.
Yeah. Terrific player out of the backfield as a runner and as a receiver, as I recall.
Lewis Dean, outstanding run, 15, 16 yards on a quarterback counter play. What we called 11 counter. Fake the ball to Len Gregson on the right side. He comes back over the left guard. Had a little fold block in all likelihood, Doug Lipscomb. And our left guard, we would turn out and then put the tackle back inside on the linebacker a lot of the time.
So Foley now with the first and goal inside the 10-yard line. And we're seeing some outstanding defense by the Bobcats right here.
Mike Phipps at fullback, run the option to Johnny.
Third and goal play, Dean under pressure and duress tries to find Phipps. The fourth down field goal attempt.
Huge play in the game. Mike Backpicker holding, Rusty Paggett kicking a huge field goal.
4:03 still left in the third quarter. Foley leading at 17-14.
Great gang tackling there. A lot of people around the football. Defense, just hard to overestimate how tough our defense was that night playing against a team like that. They're just outstanding.
That Pickens made the play.
Richard Pickens on the defense. Now that's the way you stop the outside there.
Larry Blackman comes in and stuffs the run.
They took the dive away, which is what we had to do. They made a few of those, but not very many. Johnny Adams. Tony Gill on the coverage.
And again, you can see Theodore knocking on the door.
They're at about a 14-yard line. You just see how much talent they had on the field. So it's really a credit to our players to stop them the way we did. A lot of people around the football, a lot of gang tackling.
Let those guys get a good whiff of the end zone. It's tough to keep them out. So the end of the third quarter with the score standing Foley 17, Theodore 14. We'll be back with fourth quarter action right after this. Fourth quarter action. A full 12 minutes to go. Foley leading it 17-14. Richard Pickens
Huge play.
with a huge
play.
interception right here, Coach Paggett.
Yeah, that was big. Big and sticky. Landers put them pressure on him, too. And somebody else was in there. That's Larry Blackman putting a little pressure with Landers.
Again, first play of the fourth quarter. The Bobcats are knocking on the Lions' door, but the Foley defense comes up with a huge play. Richard Pickens on the interception.
We had a number of big plays in the game. Usually have 5 or 6 big plays in any game like that. And I think there were more in this game, defensively and offensively, and with the kicking game.
But the fourth quarter, Foley holding on to a 17-14 lead, and I think everybody on the Foley side wishing that clock would run about twice as fast as it was. Bernard with the punt.
And it was on you, weren't they?
Big job, Mike Bernard getting the punt off there. We had a lot of pressure on that one and did a great job of getting the punt off. Then Wiley Hall, Landers Davison, making a big play.
Greg Connor once again, and Tony Gill with a big hit on the quarterback. Late pitch by
Hardest
Connor.
Hit the quarterback, pitched out right at the
last man had a chance, I think.
Again, big play on the sideline to keep them from scoring.
Johnny Goodwin and Landers,
Again, you just see how hard our players are playing. We were in great condition. A lot of them going both ways, and here they are inside the 15-yard line again. And defense just never did stop, never did quit.
Great pursuit and gang tackling by the Lion defense.
Several of them on the tackle there. Byron Bird, Tony Gill, Johnny Goodwin, Larry Blackman, 2 or 3 others. 4th and 1, huge play of the game. Another big play. We stopped them there at the 10-yard line.
So Foley gets the football back in a huge red zone stop by the Lion defense. And what we'll see in this possession is absolute effort and determination by the entire Foley Lion offense to
And run the option. Mike McVicker, great block on the outside. He was a really tough blocker. Outside veer to Johnny. Big play in the game. Again, you can see the offensive line really coming off the ball. A lot of determination. Every yard counts at this point in the game. Huge play here. 3rd and 5. Dean is trapped. Picks up 5.5 yards. Huge first down.
And I've watched this play about 5 times this evening, Coach, and I still don't even see where he slips through there. He just
absolutely unbelievable.
Scooted through under the crowd somehow.
We couldn't afford to punt the ball to him that last time. We had to pick up a first down. We had 2 or 3 real crucial runs by Dean and Johnny Goodwin in this drive.
He knew exactly where to get, and he got there, and I don't know how.
We just pretty much kept the ball in Johnny Goodwin's hands and Louis Dean's hands in this drive. It's probably one of the greatest drives in Foley history that didn't score, and we didn't have to score. We had to keep the ball for over 6 minutes, and we did.
Foley controlling the football and the clock.
Another big
first down.
Big first down. We're running away from the end overset here to the wide side of the field. Dean just makes a really good play. Had some excellent blocking in the line. You don't do it by yourself. Croston, Weeks, Lipscomb, Gent, they all had big blocks the whole ball game, not just in this drive.
Here we go, the final play of the game. Foley runs out the final 6 minutes of the clock. The first playoff win in Foley football history. The Lions claim it 17-14 over the Theodore Bobcats, and without question one of the biggest wins in Foley football history. An exciting football game from start to finish against a great Theodore Bobcat team, and we'll be back to talk about it more right after this. Again, the first playoff victory in Foley football history. The Lions win it 17-14 over an outstanding Theodore Bobcat team. Went on to the second round and faced a very, very good Northview football team at Northview at Rip Hughes Stadium on probably one of the coldest nights that I've ever witnessed in a high school football game. And Foley comes out on the short end of that one, 28-12 against a very talented Northview squad led by Larry Roberts, who was a part of several, I think, Super Bowl victories. But back to this game, this important victory by the Lions and a huge, huge win against the Theodore Bobcats. And Coach, again, what an effort by the Foley Lions from top to bottom. That it played with so much heart, and as we could see, watching the effort on every single play from everybody on the offensive side, on the defensive side. What a great win for our school and our district. Absolutely,
tremendous win, and it's hard really to overestimate the effort that these kids put into the game. The entire ball game, there were so many times that we could have lost the ball game either on offense or on defense, particularly on defense when they would break one for 12 or 15 yards, and they were so talented, and then we'd have somebody in the secondary or a linebacker to bring them down or knock them out of bounds after they made a few yards. The effort really was outstanding, and of course I think all of our teams had great effort, or most of our teams had great effort. This game, every play was an effort play. It was an effort game all the way through. When you give up that many pounds to a great team, and not just a big team, but a very athletic team. I mean, they had 5 or 6 guys to go and play Division I football. They had one to play a number of years with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had a great team, but our kids never would back down from anybody. They didn't in that game. They didn't against Northview the next week. Any team we played, they gave everything they had. This team, as I mentioned earlier, I think went 26-4. The games we lost, very tough games. That junior class was 24-6, and the sophomore class was 26-4. So we had a really good run during the time that these kids were playing, and they propelled us even to greater things. Even though the next year we went 8-2, that the next year we went 9-1 and didn't win the playoff game. But what they did really, I think, established a standard for years to come. That's not to take anything away from the previous teams, the teams that I played on, and the teams that Coach Jones coached. Was really great, but they didn't have a chance to get in the playoffs. A lot of our teams didn't have a chance to get in the playoffs, even though they had great records. But this team not only got in the playoffs, they beat a great team in order to win the first playoff game, and we're just tremendously proud of them.
Well, it's a great win, a classic football game in Foley football history. Coach Pygott, you've mentioned how key it was to limit the big play by the Bobcats, and we did that.
And then we came up with the big play with the interception in the end zone, which was a huge play at that time. Because we had, and overall, everybody was doing their job on every play. And efficiently, if we break one loose in the middle, and then the defensive backs would be in position, then make the tackle downfield, and we'd live to play another down. Just keep in after it.
A key to defense, obviously, is for a player to man his own position. These guys did that extremely well.
Do what you do with your plays and then help out pursuit.
Yeah, they did that. Gang tackling and pursuit. There were 4 or 5 guys around, and it takes that to stop a team like Theodore with their explosive talent that they had, and these guys did a tremendous job.
And I'll say again that after watching this again, I'm watching Landers Davis, and I felt sorry for their center. He was by him so many times, and he might not have been making the tackle, but he was putting pressure on the quarterback, and that's what leads to interceptions like Pickens got.
It was great effort by the Foley offense, defense, special teams, coaching staff all the way around, and a huge win in Foley football history. Foley 17, Theodore 14 in the first round of the playoffs, 1981. And when we come back, we'll talk to some of the players who were on the field that classic football game in 1981.